Hello, my name is Ruth Carter, and I'm a licensed attorney in Arizona. And this is your question of the day. So a few times a year, I get questions from people asking about how can I pull off a flash mob wedding? So for starters, kudos to you for wanting to do a flash mob wedding. My plan is to actually do one of those for my own nuptials when I get married. I've always said I'm going to get married on a street corner on a Tuesday, and I'm basically just going to call up my friend who's .com ordained and say, hey, show up at this location at this time and make this official. Bing, bang, boom, done. So if you want to do a flash mob wedding, some of the things you got to think about is where do you want to have it? How many people are you going to invite? Like how much of a commotion are you going to be creating? And whose rights might you be violating in the process? One of the big issues I look at when I'm helping people who are thinking about doing a flash mob wedding is looking at where are you planning on pulling off this stunt. And if it's a situation where it's private property where they would normally charge like a rental fee, you may be running the risk of just getting a bill in the mail from whoever the owner is saying, well, because you used our property for weddings and we charge for weddings, this is what you owe us. You could run into that. But if you're in like a public park and it's just a small group of people standing around where two people happen to be saying, I love you, and putting rings on each other's hands, you may not be doing anything wrong. So you have to look at the gestalt of the situation to see who has rights, who might be getting mad at you, and what's the worst case scenario. I know of a husband and wife pair that do what they call like pop-up weddings or pop weddings, and he's an ordained minister, she's a photographer, and they'll basically do your wedding wherever you want in the DC area. So I read a post that they did where this couple was getting spontaneously married in a museum, and the minister was pronouncing them as they were being escorted out. So you can do stuff like that. Most of the time it's pretty innocuous, but you do have to be mindful of your P's and Q's, do's and don'ts. Whether or not the space is known for having a sense of humor, if there have been other shenanigans in the area. But if you're only going to be, in and out in 5 minutes, maybe 10, chances of you getting in trouble are pretty slim. And even if the police are called, you may not still be there by the time they show up. So those are all things you have to think about, risks that you have to decide if it's worth it for you to take, and go from there. So if you have other questions about flash mob weddings or other shenanigans, feel free to give me a call or send me an email. My information is below. If you're looking for a resource to have on your shelf, I actually wrote the book on shenanigans, called Flash Mob Law, the legal side of planning and participating in pillow fights, no pants rides, and other shenanigans. So it's available on Amazon if you want that. Otherwise, I think that's all I have on this topic. So I will catch up with you later. Take care.